people of this country, we should not have to endure this. This country is not free anymore. You know, why should we have to endure going through the sheer humiliation of having to provide details or explaining why we're not wearing a face covering?
I'm hearing a lot of echo.
Why would you put someone who's going into labour into wards that's supposedly the deadliest fucking virus for the last fucking 100 years?
They're under an illusion that we're going to go back to normal, go back to how it was.
Never happening.
People that are getting the vaccines thinking that, you know, they can hug their grandkids again. But, like, you know, we've been told by the government, we've been told by the vaccine manufacturers that even once you get the vaccine, you still have to follow the rules, the masks, the social distancing. So what is going to be enough to end the lockdown and the regulations?
Well, it's a perpetual thing now. It's like the war on terror. They can roll it out anytime they want to, an invisible enemy. Oh, they're getting too much freedom again. Let's come out with another teenage mutant ninja turtle disease, right? And they'll come up with something every few years or every couple of months or whatever, just to keep us in line, keep us in check. That's what they've already done, haven't they? And did in the last year, like Gavin said, it's never going to be another normal, an old normal. The normal that we know is done. It's done.
Yeah. Can you imagine if
we fight back and win? I can't see it. You know, are we flogging a dead horse? Are we being taken somewhere? And we are. Do you know what I mean? Are we fighting a losing battle? Because is it gradually going to get that way anyway? Because once we're not around, our children will accept the way that we're being asked to live as being normal, won't they? Yeah. So they won't realise what freedoms we experience. We might not know what freedoms our ancestors experienced. You know, going back, history has been eroded, isn't it? It's been wiped from our memories how we used to live. Yeah. This is now the way that they want us to live. What went on in the past, that's gone.
Yeah, I don't know how it was like before World War II, and anybody who was around then is probably not about, or very, very few of them. So anybody who's experienced old times that we rely on the history books for our information, forget about it. And Mike, we had a conversation about this, didn't we, about resets in the past and stuff. They happen. Just think about it now, right? You know, they talk about archaeology and about finding stuff in the ground, and look, they used to write hieroglyphics and all that. Well, what are they going to find about us? Nothing. It's all digital.
Yeah,
you can scrub it and start again. You come out with a new technology, boom, done. It's easy.
It's why books are important, Sven. Books are there to be, you know, books are done away with now, aren't they? But books really are holding the secrets of the past for our future generations. Because, like you say, the internet can be scrubbed.
Yeah. That's gone. My YouTube videos, ain't going to be used in 60 years' time as a source of information. Guarantee that. There ain't going to be such thing as MP4. It'll be or whatever it's going to be called.
You know, the question I ask myself quite a lot is, what would I accept as being a win-win for what's going on? You know, going back to life as it was in March. This is what we've got to look at. Do we accept, you know, because that was normal to us, wasn't it? That was life. That was where we were free to do as we choose. What do we accept as being we've changed something, we've won something? What are we aiming for? What is the target? Going back to life as we knew it, because at the moment that seems quite distant, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's like, what do you accept as a win for this?
It's definitely something to think about.
Well,
I would just like to go back to the gym.
I would just. If anybody starts talking about holidays in Marbella or something, I will freak. Even people who I thought were sort of on the fence, they're not really. They're leaning more towards the safety sort of. They err on the side of caution, and they'd rather side with the authorities because they're scared of the consequences. This is it. This is a big issue. You know,
what
I get
are the consequences? Because we've shown time and time again that there aren't really any consequences.
But they're not really, exactly. You make a great point, Sam. What are the consequences? That's the thing. Yeah. And it goes back to the old saying, there's nothing to fear but fear itself.
Exactly.
And that's what people, and people have to understand that. And that's where we talk about the spirituality I was mentioning earlier, about going inward and understanding that. Once people get a grasp of that, then life becomes a bit more bearable and a bit easier to live. But when we start worrying about people, places, and things, and all the external stuff, the shiny stuff that doesn't matter, really, but you think it does because that's what you see on the front of Vogue, or that's what you see on the adverts on the TV, or whatever it is that people are infected by, right? In terms of propaganda, this machinery, then we've got a problem.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. We're at that juncture right now.
But how do we stop people from being worried when they've got the media and, you know, like TV, radio in their eyes and ears constantly? How do we stop them from being scared?
But it's the division as well that it's causing between families. You know, it's causing families to have. You know, I've got two of my sons that are they're for what I'm saying, and they agree to it. I've got one son that is dead against what is going on. You know, he's got a totally different mindset to the other two, and it causes absolute division within families, and that's not right. What's going on, you know? But everyone's affected by this, aren't they? Everyone. There's nobody that will not be affected by what is going on.
No,
I'm witnessing it in my own family. I've got my own parents. One is for the vaccine and one is against. And the one that's for the vaccine says that he openly says that he believes everything being said on the news about it. And the one who's against doesn't watch the news really, and researches it, reads all the stuff from the manufacturers, and he just won't believe any of it. But I just can't understand why. Like, why do people believe the media so much?
Well, I thought that was interesting the other day that was posted on the site where Mike had the age groups of the people that are part of the group. You know, women were more more awake, it seemed, and the 25-year-olds and under were asleep and falling for their lives, whether that's because of the technology that they use now. And then you've got the over 60s and the 60s and over that are constantly sat at home in fear of everything, and they're being fed permanently 24/7. Every news channel you turn, there's a COVID fear story coming on. So they're sat at home. So is that where the divide is? I mean, well, that's what I've relied on the older people to have more sense and awareness and astuteness to know what is going on. But
they do, Gavin. But and you're touching on a really important point there, and Sam, you were as well, definitely. And that is that even us, we sometimes check ourselves, don't we? And think, all right, hang on a minute. Am I going loopy here? What is really actually going on here?
Hang on, Sven. Hang on. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, so even those of us who are like on the ball going, look, guys, this is all bullshit, right? But even us, we're going, well, so if you think about it like that, then that lot, I mean, blimey, not that I would ever go back there because I wouldn't, but I'm just saying it's a problem because you're confronted by it all day. Like what happened to me on the bus yesterday, when you got people almost convincing you you've done something wrong and you almost feel guilty. But in actual fact, when you think about it, you go, well, I've actually done absolutely nothing wrong. But, it's the old saying, isn't it? You tell people a lie often enough and they'll believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're bang on.
Sometimes it does feel like it would be so much easier just to go along with it all. It does feel that sometimes.
That's the comfort zone thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you do have to remind yourself that no, we're not actually doing anything wrong. We're just trying to breathe the fresh air and trying to go shopping without being questioned about past experiences. We are doing nothing wrong, and we're just standing up for what we believe in.
Well, not just what we believe in, but with what we know is right.
Well, yeah, we see the facts. We look for the facts. We don't watch the TV and take it all as fact. We look for the information, and all we're doing is trying to get it out there. We're not trying to harm anyone. We're not trying to, make the situation worse. Just trying to get information out there. So, it goes back to the whole informed thing. People need to know all of the data. They need to, just see it past the media.
Well, people me. Oh, the expert, the epidemiologist expert, the virus expert is back online. Let's listen to what he's got to say. You don't need to be an expert to see what's going on. I'm no expert. I don't profess to be an expert, but you don't need to be. You just need common sense, a bit of critical thinking, and you know, applying a bit of thought into what is going on. You don't need to be an expert, do you, to know all these stats and figures? It baffles my brain with all the stats and figures and graphs that come out. But I don't need to be told. It's inside me. I know something is wrong. It's the truth inside me. It's my gut feeling, whatever you want to call it. But I don't need to be an expert.
You don't need to be a doctor to read the vaccine insert sheets.
No,
you don't need to
don't forget
work in government to be able to see all the lies that they tell.
No, and don't forget one important thing. We get both sides of the story. That lot don't. And so we are much better informed as they are right from the get-go, as it were, right? So when people say to me, well, what do you know with your internet stuff? So, they come out with these cheap arguments. But I say to them, well, I used to just watch BBC and stuff years ago, but now I vary my sources. I look at all sorts of things. And by the way, there are thousands of doctors and professors that won't get on the television. They're not allowed to because they don't talk what the mainstream wants them to talk. And they're just as well qualified. So what are we talking about here? It's all just one-sided nonsense coming through the media.
The media are following an agenda. They're promoting and propagating an agenda. And that's how it works. That's how the psychological warfare on the people's minds works. The people speaking out against the opinions of others are being censored and deplatformed. So what chance have they got online to speak out?
None whatsoever. It stays online and that's it. It doesn't go out anywhere. It stays within an echo chamber.
Urban Media has got 60 subscribers. Has just literally been banned. So it's got 60 subs. We have just been banned. What do you think a whistleblower nurse's chances are of getting their story out? I mean, a few of them do slip through, but
whistleblowers have to do it through other people. But then those people get told, well, we don't know if that's a real nurse. Well, it's the only bloody way that we can do it is by doing it through other people.
Well, even if you go with a camera into a hospital and film the fact that it's empty and film the fact that there are fleets of ambulances parked outside, even that proof is not enough for people to go, well, that doesn't make sense because we're being told that they can't find beds, they can't find ambulances, and everybody, even the nurses, are dying of exhaustion on 18-hour days kind of thing. So, when you've got compelling evidence like that, and yet they don't believe it, well, what chance have you got?
But I've had that confusion myself because I have friends that work in Bournemouth Hospital, and obviously a couple of weeks ago I did ask if the ITU was full, and she did say it was, and she told me how many patients was in there, and I was like, but that's different to what I'm being told. But none of it still makes sense because she said a lot of those people that went into something else and then tested positive whilst they were there. So obviously we know about the tests and how reliable they are. So it's very unlikely that all the people that are in hospital with COVID actually have COVID.
Well, this is the thing, Sam. We mentioned this in a thing that we did a while back, right? I worked it out that on average a day, about 3 people get admitted to hospitals throughout the UK. 3 with COVID-19, 3 people. So when they say 4,000 people have been admitted on the 18th of Jan, for example, what they don't tell you is there's 1,250 on hospitals, right? Yeah. And what they also don't tell you is that a hospital admission, like the yellow poster we did, me and Melissa, right? Hospital admissions do not mean overnight stays.
No.
Right? Necessarily. They can do, but they don't necessarily. So if you're talking a 24-hour cycle of just 3 people on average per hospital, well, that's nothing. More people go there with a blocked nose.
If this was a real pandemic, you would not need to put people in a hospital and check them for the illness, would you?
No.
You would be able to tell.
Yeah, it would all not make sense. If you were ill, you'd stay at home. You wouldn't rush off to the doctor. You would stay at home. If you're healthy, you wouldn't go and get a test. So those 2 things alone don't make sense.
No, but what's also interesting is the fact that the massive spike in hospital admissions right now, just as they're rolling out a vaccine. How many of these people are being admitted with effects that have been caused by the vaccine that they're rolling out? The experimental vaccine, the untried, untested vaccine that they're rolling out to people and putting into their arm. How many people are going into hospital with the effects or adverse reactions? How many deaths have been caused by it? We don't get told these things, do we? the vaccine has been rolled out to all these old people. How many of these old people? The stories all over that old people are dying from it, having terrible reactions from it. The people that you see online, people say, "Oh, they're making it up. It's all a lie."
No,
It's
no,
not. It's happening. It's happening. The hospitals are dealing with very short staff because there's supposed to be 60,000 nurses, isn't there, in this country that are being signed off or told to stay home because they've had a track and trace or an app to say that they can't fit, they can't go to work. Healthy people are being told that they're ill and they've got to stay home. It's crazy.
I walked past the poster today. Act like you've got it.
Act like you've got it.
There's a name for that, isn't there?
Well, some of these nurses have got very short memories as well, because a lot of them were 0-hour contract nurses who were actually out of work in the summer in the middle of a global pandemic. And these are facts. Nurses were being told to go home and claim universal credit, and the very person who made me aware of this was defending them on my status, and I'm sure this isn't the. I'm not singling her that particular person out, but I'm sure this is the case with so many nurses across the country. That suddenly now they're back in work, suddenly now their jobs are again on the line. They're just going to stick up and not speak out again. And you just think, what do they care more about? Do they care more about their children's futures, their grandchildren's futures, or do they care more about their bank balance? And I mean, this is where this question with the police.
I think we're in the future.
Well, the thing is, Mike, right? They think they do care about their children's futures by believing in the mainstream hype. That's the problem. They actually do think that is their way of caring about it.
They believe they're keeping their children safe.
That's right.
They're being coerced into, their children living a far less an existence to what we had, and they don't understand this yet. It's been a year. Let's face it, it's been a year of this lockdown, hasn't it? A whole year, basically, that we have been subject to this tyranny, this absolute tyranny that's going on. We've been subject to house arrest. We're allowed out to see it for an hour for a bit of exercise. We're allowed to be seeing people who they think we can see. We can't go to the pub. We can't do, we've got to socially distance. We're having all this inflicted upon our lives. And people are believing that it's for a virus. This isn't about a virus. This is my whole thing about it. It's not about a virus. Look at the bigger picture, isn't it? Why do people not see it? It's fear. It's the fear and constant propaganda they've been fed. And that is all it is.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, mate. This is not a virus. The virus is the perfect smokescreen. Perfect. It covers all bases.
Totally agree. All the big corporations, I think Lance put it in one of his speeches, all the big corporations can quite easily survive on 25% of their regular takings, or whatever you want to call it. Your small family businesses can't, and it will destroy them. So when people are saying, "Oh, how is it destroying the economy going to benefit all these people?" Well, that's how it benefits them, because the big corporations just swallow it all up. Will swallow up all that business, and that's how it works, and that's how they gain, and that's who gains. Why do you think Amazon are allowed to sell, and all the delivery drivers have probably had more work in the last year than they fucking ever had in their lives? It's absolute fucking nonsense.
Yeah, and there was a lady.
From Scotland.
Gecko's back.
Yeah, it's a bit, isn't it?
Oh, it's all right now. Oh, no, it's not. It's back. It's back. And I'm echoing again.
From the moon.
What we've got to remember, all of us, is COVID is a true killer. It really is a killer. It's killed the flu. It's killed cancer. It's killed pneumonia. It's wiped out heart disease. It's killed the ability to think any logic or common sense for anybody. It's killed the economy. It's killed the working class and millions of jobs. It's killed millions of businesses. It's killed human connection and, bonding as a human being. Loving compassion is basically gone out the window for all of it. And it's an agenda. And we've got to think, why are we allowing this to happen? It's wrong. I'm disgusted by it all. I really am. I'm disgusted. And the treatment that people are getting for speaking out. This is what we need to remember and keep standing up for. I used to the one thing that the rallies were good for was knowing that at that time, you could be with a group of people, a group of caring people that shared your same ethos, your same beliefs, and it was just nice for an hour or two just to feel that. It was almost like a football crowd when they're supporting the team at Anfield, and you've got the whole the whole crowd there in unison, singing, supporting, like a human emotion, all united as one. Do you know what I mean? It's that we're being crushed from as well. Having a unity as a group. You know, imagine a football crowd now. Imagine just experiencing a packed out stadium with football fans there, all singing and getting behind and uniting behind and singing for that 2 hours of that football match. You know, in unison as one, and that's the power that we are being taken away. You know, that is strong to me. That's a strong bond for humanity. Do you know what I mean? Just at that moment in time, a concert, a packed concert, Glastonbury or whatever, heaving with all people just enjoying, no marks in sight, just enjoying what they're doing. They're living life for today, and experiencing it as a group. Do you know what I mean? As one, the power that emits, to me, is immense.
That's Gavin. That's what they want to rid us of. They want to rid us of those those positive vibes, those high frequencies.
Yeah.
That's what they want. That's what they want to stop. Hence the 2 meter social distancing. Hence the divide and conquer tactics that have been going on since mankind has been around. You know, whether it's in the form of religion, whether it's in the form of politics, whatever, you take your pick. It's division everywhere you look, and that's exactly where it's going, mate.
The real pandemic here is mental health.
Yes, and those with mental health are the ones who are made out to be quite literally fruitcakes, but they're actually not.
Yeah.
Well, we've all had the tinfoil hat chucked at us, or the conspiracy nut job. You know, they've been brainwashed into believing from a cult that what's happening is fake. My God, I don't need anyone to tell me what's not fake. I believe, you stand up for what you believe. And this is what the argument I keep having with people. I stand up for what I believe, and I'm sure you lot do the same. You know,
you
don't stand up for what you believe. All our lives we've been told to stand up for right and wrong, for what we believe. We're standing up because we believe something's wrong.
The narcissists will accuse you of what you are, won't they? So they're brainwashed by fucking cunts. So they accuse us of being brainwashed by cunts.
Well, it's like what my German granddad once said to me many years ago. He said, "Sven, always remember, if you point a finger at someone, there's 3 pointing at you."
The police have also got to remember that we're not there to disrespect them. We're not there to cause trouble. We just want them to respect our rights as human beings.
It would be nice also if they used a bit of brain as well along the way, wouldn't it?
I don't think they possess it, Sven. They either know what's going on, and they are, because like those coppers on the coach, Mike, wasn't there? You know, you could see in their eyes they didn't want to be there. They knew what they were doing was wrong. They didn't want to be arresting us. They knew it was wrong. What they were doing, acting against human beings in this country, you could see it in their eyes. You could see it in their mannerisms. But they were following the orders that they were given. We understand that. I understand they're following the orders. But when do they start questioning? When do I stop following these orders?
Well, when you're asking the police officer what's this about or what for, and the response is because we've been asked to, then that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah. I had that same experience in London. I was face to face with a copper, and I said they were confiscating all the stuff, and that was just after we all sat on the floor and they trampled over us. I said, "Why are you doing this for?" And he said, "I'm just following," pointed to his earpiece. So it's like, when are they going to start standing up for their freedoms too? Because that's all we're doing. We're standing up for them as well.
Yeah.
Will it take for people's friends and family, their own personal friends and family, to be effective? Because essentially that's where it's going. Is your grand going to take an untested vaccine, or are you going to stick an untested vaccine when they sit down a child? How far are people prepared to go for their jobs? And how far are people prepared to go for money, basically?
Mate, it's despairing. It's despairing when you think, I've got friends, and I'm sure you guys can all relate to this, and you've alluded to it earlier, Mike, and well, everyone has here, right? Who have been trying to, for example, convince their mums and dads, don't touch it, Here are the reasons why. I've researched it. In fact, go and research it yourself. Here are the links. Go and have a look at the information. And they are adamant that that's the way to go. So what do you do? What do you do as a son or as a daughter when you're trying to tell your parents, don't do it? What do you do?
I've got exactly the same thing with my mum. She all her life, my mum and my dad have always gone out on lots of cruises and enjoyed their life. They've worked hard. And when my dad died, he made me promise to him that A, I would look after my mum, which he didn't, I would do it inevitably anyway. But B, was to ensure that she carried on living and enjoying life, having her holidays, going on cruises, doing what she wants to do. She's been denied that now.
Yeah, no, it's just these signals contact again, isn't it? I think.
Oh well. I know.
I don't know what's going on.
It's
right,
bad.
should we wrap it up?
Oh, it's gone.
Someone's listening. Say hi to them.
Oh, hang on. No, we're all right. Hello.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
we're all right.
man.
Quick, get some words in quickly. Right. Anyone know a good joke? Hear about the man who thought there was a virus?
No, I was going to add to what Gavin said. My stepdad, he is a bin man, and he's the one that's adamant that he's going to have the vaccine. But in the same breath, he's also saying, well, he's been working this whole entire time, and he only started wearing masks in November, I think. They have to wear a mask when they're in the cabin together. And he hasn't been ill at all. So he's saying his immune system must be strong because he hasn't got ill this whole time, but then he's going to get the vaccine. Why do you need it if your immune system's that strong?
Well, that's what
Like I said to that journalist from the Echo back then outside the town hall. Why would I get a plaster of Paris on my leg if I think I might be breaking it in 5 years' time? Why would you do that?
Exactly. Can't they put all this money that they spent on vaccines into finding a bloody treatment and antivirals for it?
It's crazy. You might get an injection. If you're healthy, you're healthy. It's that simple.
Yeah,
for 8 months.
You're not healthy. This is what people don't realise. The test is 100% inaccurate. It's a faulty test. It's not fit for purpose. But the stats that we're being fed are all based on a lie, a test that is not fit for purpose.
Don't forget, Gavin, you've got it like you've got it.
Exactly.
And even if you want to believe the virus is real and all that bullshit, the vaccine's good. For 8 months, up until they didn't have a vaccine, 99.6% of people who got it recovered. So why do you then want to take an untested vaccine that they even say themselves only has 95%, it only works 95% of the time? Why do you want to do that? And then they also gaslighting you that it might not even work. Why do you want to do all this stuff when for 8 months before the vaccine, 99.6% of people recovered?
Exactly.
It does not make any
sense. That the majority of people don't have symptoms. Because the vaccine is 95% effective at lessening your symptoms. And we don't know at the moment if it stops you from catching it and spreading it. What is the point of it?
Exactly.
Well, the point of it is, if you don't go along with it, you're going to get ridiculed by your neighbours, your family members, you might lose your job. And so it's that fear factor. And that's the point of it. And that's what people are buying into. They'd rather take that risk, but then keep their reputations in check or keep their jobs and their mortgages. And what are mortgages? Well, they're contracts designed to keep you locked into the financial system for the rest of your life. I don't have a mortgage, so I guess I'm lucky.
Well, it's almost time to grab the kids and fuck off in the middle of nowhere.
Well, let's get ourselves a tent quickly before they run out. Tent and bog roll, that's what I say. I'm going to start a new group called Tents and Bog Rolls.
They're all sold out, all the bog rolls.
Oh yeah, the tents will be soon as well. You wait and see.
About 4.
People are sort of suggesting go live off grid sort of thing, but you still got to live in the world that we're being presented, aren't we? You can have communities setting up and going and live off grid, but they've still got to face the point of going to a shop and having to don a mask, because that's going to be around for a long time, isn't it? This isolation, this social distancing, all these measures that are taken, all these signs everywhere on the floor are all going to still be around in 6 months' time, a year's time. This is all part of the control, isn't it?
I said, what's social about socially distancing?
Oh yeah, that's not very social at all, is it? I mean, I was asked this question a while back. What's the end game, Sven? And I said, I think the end game is the fact that there isn't an end game. That's the end game. I think it's the perpetual drawing out and tightening of the noose, keeping people on their toes. That's the control. You know, it's like there's a famous little scene in a film where there's a guard. He's in charge of a camp, and he keeps on shooting the prisoners. And then the guy goes up to him, and he says to him, "That is not showing that you're in charge of control. In charge of control is the threat of you killing them, but allowing them to live. That's control, right?" And that's exactly how this works. You know, people aren't going to get arrested and have jabs put into their legs or arms or whatever. That ain't not going to happen yet, he says cautiously, right? But the threat of it, that looming possibility that it could happen, is what's keeping people in this perpetual, this mode of fear right now. That is even affecting us lot. Never mind that. Look, well, I don't think it's actually affecting them really, but you know, it's certainly affecting us because we've seen the bigger picture, and that's how that works. It's real psychological warfare going down, like Gavin said earlier, and it's a spiritual battle that we've got on our hands. It's massive. Yeah,
it is, and it's not easy, and it's not fun. We're not doing
no,
this.
It's not fun.
We're not laughing at people that wear masks. No. We're concerned for them, and we're concerned for where this is going.
Yeah. We are concerned, and rightfully so. We're concerned because we know
it's like what you were saying earlier, Sven, about keep checking back with reality. Am I going mad? Is it me? You know, I've got people telling me, you know, what are you doing this for? This is not you. You're out of character. This isn't the person that you are. But why? What, you know? Why are we doing it? Because I'm checking back and I'm thinking, am I going mad? Have I got this wrong? Have I got this so wrong? And I have been brainwashed. But then I look at the other side, and then I look at what I know, and it's like, no, I'm not. I'm fucking absolutely right. What's going on? I'm speaking for the truth. I'm standing for a cause. I'm believing who I am. Yeah. I keep looking back. Am I a nutcase? No, I'm not.
No, you're not. There's nothing nutty. There's nothing nutty about not believing known liars.
Exactly.
You're not
going to forget ourselves of that.
Out of character is not being around your family. It's being questioned as soon as you go into a shop. It's being worried about, you know, a lot of people are worried about how to feed their kids, and a lot of people are worried about their mental health. All of that's out of character. Not wanting to breathe the fresh air, not wanting to go shopping, not wanting to go to the gym. That's not out of character. Out of character is everyone that's following the rules.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a scientist and stuff to work out certain things like a positive test for coronavirus and they die within 28 days. Would you really be counting those things as stats? And these are the things. You don't need to be a scientist or an expert to look at these things. You just need to have a bit of common sense.
Common sense, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
common sense is not going out if you're ill. Common sense isn't going to get a test for an illness that you haven't got symptoms for.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone said to me the other day, imagine going to the doctors and saying, "Doctor, look, there's something wrong with me. I feel there's something wrong with me." He'd say, "Well, what's your symptom?" "I haven't got any symptoms. I've got no symptoms whatsoever, but I'm told, I feel like I'm ill." He would send you away before March. He would send you away and say, "You're hypochondriac. There's nothing wrong with you. You cannot be wrong. You cannot be ill if they've got no symptoms." Yeah, surely, but no, we're being told he was the exact opposite.
Would your employer give you 2 weeks paid off work for a virus that you haven't got?
Absolute madness, isn't it? Absolute madness.
What have we learned from today's conversation?
My laugh is horrible.